everybody. Good morning. I hope you're all doing well. I'm gonna hop right to it here, and basically, there's a whole bunch of people that are analyzing the shooting footage that happened yesterday, morning, afternoon time frame in Minneapolis, where another man was killed, and he had a pistol with him, and he had, I believe it was high capacity magazines. He had a couple of different magazines. That's not for self defense. He didn't have his ID on him. He didn't have any of that stuff with him, which you're supposed to in the state of Minnesota, from what I understand. Anyways, people have been analyzing the footage and slowing it down, and I've been kind of looking at everybody else's research and kind of trying to decide for myself what I think actually happened. There was some things that happened with it that definitely looked off to me, and I'm just going to show you this video real quick. And it's a slowed down version. They actually had gotten the weapon from him, and an officer took it, and it was either purposeful or accidental. But it was accidental. I'm wondering if it was accidental. But there was a misfire. The gun had shot. People were yelling gun, and then the officer that took the gun away had it pointing down, and you can clearly see in the footage that I'm about to show you that the slide is backwards. Which would show that it's firing. So I'll just let you see the footage for yourself here. And you can hear that first shot there. I'm going to rewind it, and you can hear that first shot right there. And it seemed that, like, because that officer, rewind it here. That is his pistol. It was taken away from him. It was obviously, this officer has it, is trying to get it out of the way. And it looks like it fires, and we'll just let this play out here. Now, I can't, I'm looking at this, and it's like, if he's taking it away and not going to use it, why is his finger on the trigger? That's what I'd like to know. Why does he have his finger on the trigger to be able to pull the trigger? And it could be just training. It could just be that, you're used to, when you're handling a pistol, to have, your finger on the trigger. But I don't know. I'm still trying to decide for myself what I think is going on, but I think that this is a good possibility as to how it maybe began. And again, I'll rewind it and let you just see it for yourself. And you can see that slide is back. It's a real quick action, obviously, but in that frame, you can see that the slide is back. And you can see right there, it's not. And then there it goes back. You can see it go back. You can literally watch it go back right there. And that could have been what made anybody else think that, there was a shot being fired. I don't know, in a situation like that where, there's someone and he was fighting with officers regardless. If you look at the footage, the original footage that I showed yesterday, it's clear as day. He's scrapping with the officers, and he's resisting. That alone, is not a healthy decision to do. And then also being armed, when you're concealed carry, you're supposed to announce that to officers when they're approaching you. That would be the right thing to do. So very strange indeed. So I just wanted to show you that footage before we got started today. And I'm not saying it's the definitive answer to what happened, but I just wanted to add that to the pile of evidence that we've been talking about. Um, anyways, this one's kind of crazy, and I'll bring it up after you watch this clip. Check this out.
Protesters then showed up at the scene. They began to obstruct and to assault law enforcement officers. We saw objects being thrown at them, including ice and other objects, and a rampant assault began, and even an HSI officer agent's finger was bitten off.
What? Did you just hear that? Let's rewind that for a moment.
Officer agent's finger was bitten off.
So one of these animals literally bit a finger off of an ICE agent in this whole scuffle that we saw yesterday with all the tear gas and things like that. And I have some footage that I can show you, some aerial footage. Just give me a moment here. I gotta make this a little bigger. I'm sorry, so I can see. Right here. Here's just some aerial footage of the scuffle and all the chaos that happened yesterday. So in all of that, a ICE agent's finger was bitten off, and I mean that's obviously not the worst of it right there, but it's right after this man was shot and killed. Uh, an ICE agent's finger was bitten off. That's nuts to me. That's nuts. Give me a moment here. Try to clean up my studio here so I have more room. As we keep going, I just want to point this out. These people, Antifa, all of them, they really work hard at trying to make themselves look pathetic in the eyes of the public, in the sense of, they like, for instance, I saw a woman, and I showed the video footage in its entirety a couple of lives back. And she was literally in ICE's way, not moving. They were literally saying, just go, just get out of here. Joppy was probably here that day and seen it, but literally, like, they're saying, go, get out of here. They're giving her a chance to get out of there, and she wouldn't leave. And she kept blocking, ICE officers. And literally, they start to pull her out of the car. And then she starts screaming, I'm autistic. I'm autistic. I was just going to the doctor. That's absolutely not what she was doing. These people, they do one thing, and then when it bites them in the butt, they start to lie and try to cover for themselves, you know? And it's funny that they always try to make themselves look pathetic after they're tough for a while, and they can rabble rouse and throw bottles, and throw water bottles that have turned to ice at people, and hit people with flag poles until they're bleeding from their skull, and all the violence that we've seen. But and I mean, they show up, to protest, just looking real pathetic. And I just for just a quick pinch before we really get into things, I want you to see this. This is gonna crack you up. It made me laugh.
Smoke grenades that initially came out. I know the smell of smoke. Not sure what just happened there.
Guy says, not sure what just happened there. Oh man, I can't even believe it. Like, I mean, watch that again.
There's smoke grenades that initially came out. I know the smell of smoke. Not sure what just happened there. But you guys can see the amount of crap.
I mean, I can't believe that. They try to look like they're handicapped. They try to, I'm autistic, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, and try to look pathetic. and there's nothing wrong with the guy. He steps off of the wheelchair, you know, his little Stephen Hawking wheelchair there, and picks something up off the ground and then hops back in. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. You know, these people are all smoke and mirrors. They always have been and they always will be. Always smoke and mirrors. The same thing with the Palestinians, I've noticed. Real smoke and mirrors. You know, I've watched them, like, you know, pour ketchup on each other to look like they're bleeding and lay down, and they're taking video footage, and you know, you can see him, like the dude get up afterwards and like look around that's got the ketchup on him. And I mean, it's just ridiculous stuff. It's Hollywood is what it is. It's Hollywood. It's another form of Hollywood. Give me a moment here. So there's more people that are, you know, we'll just, you know, call them as what they are, Antifa. All right, there's Antifa again in the streets with guns.
If you can black out our face, that would be preferred.
He says if you could black out our face, that would be preferred.
Stay down, bro. Keep your head down.
Are you with the BBC or? So, yep.
I wouldn't do anything in the house.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so I got more to show you here. So this is Kyle Wagner, and he's an Antifa leader. And I want you to hear what he's saying about what he wants other people on the left to do.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up, okay? Go watch my other videos. Doesn't matter if you're not here and you're not caught up. You missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet. Show up, ready to go. Okay, not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. I am talking specifically to my fucking followers. This is everything I have fucking talked about, and this is exactly what I said was gonna happen. This is exactly what I said was gonna fucking come when we didn't fucking go and march on fucking Whipple with guns. Sorry. But welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you fucking protected from literal fucking Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people in the street with impunity. This is not a fucking joke. There's nothing fun to chant about it. Get your fucking guns and stop these fucking people.
So he wants people to rise up violently, and I'm sorry for all the language, but I'm not going to edit out every cuss word. It's not worth my time when it's every other word. But, you know, you get the picture that this guy's, you know, one of the leaders of Antifa in Minneapolis, and he's calling for people to rise up violently against law enforcement, you know. That blows my mind away. Anyways, so this is an interesting one. Antifa's out, you know, playing crossing guard with traffic again. You just kind of have to see it for yourself.
2,000 protesters have joined from a vigil they were holding, and you can see these young people in the shiny vests. They've actually stopped traffic. They're pretty well organized. They've got walkie-talkies, and they replace each other. But basically, they've stopped traffic. So you can see this is expanding now from just one block where the shooting took place. Now it's moving out into other blocks. We were going to pull out of our car, and they said, oh, no, you can't go. So you have people.
And, you know, they cried Nazis, but do you see how they're being used as Nazis? Oh, you can't go here. Let me see your papers. Confirm you're not ICE, blah, blah, blah. That's some Nazi crap.
In shiny vests, really, directing traffic, controlling the streets, saying who can go where. No, you can't drive away because I'm in a shiny vest, and I'm telling you you can't. So We can see who's in control not just of one street where the shooting took place, but now multiple streets, as several thousand people have joined this protest from a vigil.
All right.
So, I mean, I think you get the picture there. They're blocking things off again now. What I have found out is they have created a new autonomous zone in Minneapolis. So, just like they did in Seattle, where they had an autonomous zone where it was like a no-go zone for law enforcement and things like that, they're beginning to try to do the same thing as here. The same tactics that were happening during the pandemic riots, you're seeing happen again. And it's all stolen stuff, which I think is interesting. It's like none of that's theirs. They just took it and moved it into the street, but they're the same crap they did before, they're starting to do again. Hold on, I got more footage of the autonomous zone. Here's another one. Yeah, I'm sick of hearing the chanting, but you get the picture, what they're doing. And then also the same way in, like I've shown in Portland in the past, and also in the during the George Floyd riots, they had a lot of supplies that was, prepared for them. Here's a couple of videos with some of their supplies.
Yeah, there's going to be people trying to rouse it up. Yeah. There's one guy over here asking me before, do you think they're going to...
And then you got the milk for when people get maced or tear gassed. It takes money for this, and I'll tell you, ain't one of these people got the money to be going and buying stuff like this and just handing it out for free. That's ridiculous. Here's another video right here. Designer face mask.
I knew right there. I guess he was. Yeah, I had to come out. I like that.
Did you wait? Yeah. Wait a second. Designer face mask. Do you see the spelling of that? It should be IGNER. Designer face masks. I'm sorry, that cracks me up, man. That's so stupid. But they got quite the setup. Oh, yeah, there they spelled it right over here. Designer face mask, but over here. Oh man. Anyways, so you see they're already getting supplies. Like there's something brewing here in Minneapolis when you see supplies showing up and them setting up camp. They did this with Portland for quite a while. And they had, a tent, and they had a fire going in there, and they had all the supplies, and then the little blow up costumes and all this weird stuff, and umbrellas, and just riot gear, and things that they can use for that. And it seems like they're starting to build stuff up. So there's a plan. There's an operation that's taking place. Why they need to have all this stuff, out. I mean, so it's definitely going somewhere. I think that's yet to be seen how bad it's going to get. But I mean, with the Insurrection Act right around the corner, with what Antifa and their funders are doing, it doesn't look good, to me anyways. Call me crazy, but it doesn't look good. Portland is definitely popping off as well. And so here's a few videos from Portland. Yeah, so you kind of see the point there, and there's more footage. They actually went around to the back of the ICE facility in Portland and were screwing around back there. Here's some footage of that. And I want to be clear about something. You know, these people, man, they got the F word up their sleeve like crazy, dude. Like it's every other word is the F word. And I want to be clear what the F word actually means. It's fornication under the command of the king. And it was when the king back in the day was trying to breed out the Scots. And when the Scots would get married, the wife would have to sleep with the king first. So you know that's the origins of that word, and you know just people use it so loosely now. It's just crazy. And yeah, you're right, Teresa, showing their ignorance.
Little fucking face charge.
So it seems to me that Portland isn't far behind Minneapolis. It might not be as widespread like in Minneapolis. Like in Minneapolis, they are organized. They're heavily organized. And so it just goes to show what's really going on. Now, hold on a second. I got to get back to my file here. This is a New York City protest, a very short video, but they're out there in New York City doing the same thing. And you can see, you know, they're obviously protesting ICE. It says ICE out of New York on the yellow sign next to the red banner on the right there. But you know, you can tell these are fascist communists, but they call you the Nazi. You know what I'm saying? They don't realize what Nazism even means. None of these people are even that educated at all. You know, they might be able to add, you know, 2 + 2 = 5, you know, but they don't know what they're talking about. It's like nothing they say makes sense. I honestly don't understand their logic. I absolutely don't get it. But you can see that, you know, they're protesting ICE in New York as well. They got a pretty big crowd there as well. And this was yesterday. So, you know, it's spreading. It's becoming a thing. They actually have been moving troops into Minneapolis last night. This would be like a, you know, and it's not the official name of the vehicle, but this would be used to transport troops and things like that. All right. So this is just sitting there in a parking lot. And that's in Minneapolis. And they got a few of them right there. Look at them. So there's that. Give me a moment here. I'm just going to show more of the military stuff. And this is more of like a compilation video of just the army presence that's in Minneapolis right now. This was last night. So, I think you get the picture though that they're around, and there's a more of a greener Humvee there. Here's a better view of that. I mean, it's all around, and so that's Tim Walz, bringing that out and about. That has nothing to do with Trump and the Insurrection Act. And what could be coming very soon, but it shows that the military is right on the edge of this thing. Give me a moment here, getting back to my file. Here's more Antifa that wants to attack and ambush and is calling for ambushes on ICE and different officers and things like that.
When are the Dems going to actually January 6th this bitch? Like, all we do is stand on the street and blow whistles and keep getting shot. Like, when are we going to be the ones to ambush them? Like, what in the fuck is going on here, you guys? Like, we have to actually stand up for ourselves.
Like for Ethereal. So, they're literally threatening, and there's people calling for violence. Give me a moment here. Minnesota businesses are beginning to board up their, Leering Center. St. Gerard. Yeah, exactly. But here's a video of businesses boarding up in Minneapolis.
Okay. So they don't have to lift them up, Mike. Get them in good enough, Mike? Yeah.
They all know something's coming. There's word on the street, and it's getting around. Something's about to go down.
Okay. All right, then don't lift them. Just put them up, okay?
So there's that. And then give me a moment here, just trying to make sure I'm going through everything here. All right, now this is an interesting one. There's James O'Keefe was in Minneapolis, and this was pretty strange, if you ask me. That what happened to him, and he said, and military ex-military security personnel that he's hired are saying that they've never seen anything like this. Check this video out.
James O'Keefe in downtown Minneapolis. We have a team of undercover reporters still inside the mob. I was at the scene of the shooting covering it this morning, and basically we barely got out of there alive. There were a few hundred that surrounded us, started throwing ice bottles at us. A few hit us, hit our vehicle. They were starting to rip off my bulletproof vest, so we got out of there. We were followed, we were tailed, and here we are right now. We just got this message, and it says, we know that you're in Minneapolis. You're with O'Keefe and his crew of Nazis. You're in a white Ford license plate. They actually wrote the license plate down from Florida. You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead.
So do you see that? They're literally saying, we know you're in Minneapolis. You're with James O'Keefe and his crew of Nazis. You're in a white Ford license plate, blah, 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 from Florida. You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead.
1 hour to leave or you're dead. We are going to produce our footage, gathering everything we've got from this weekend, We're going to put our report together along with the hidden camera footage that we have. We still have undercover people in the field. Please pray for my team's safety. This is worse than anything I could have possibly imagined. I have security with me, former Marine, and he said that it was worse than overseas, and it was certainly anything worse than I've seen the cartel at the border. We're going to contact law enforcement, DHS, and the FBI, and we're going to try to get out of here safely so we can bring the news to you.
You know, and I find it kind of interesting because people are playing this situation down so much. You've been conditioned and programmed to have a sense of normalcy with all of this. This isn't normal. This shouldn't be happening in America, all of this. And it is, you know, and it's being funded by, you know, George Soros and the like. I actually got a meme here that I thought was rather interesting. And I want you to know that this is a accurate depiction of what is going on. This is very accurate, everybody. Very, very accurate. George Soros paying him out, poking the gun. Come on, do something. You know? So that's absolutely what's going on. They're trying to provoke a civil war. That's what I really think is happening. I think we're right on the cusp of something really big here. Give me a moment here. I'm going to look at this outside of my... Hold on. Give me a moment here. I got to see what this is. Yeah, so the Minneapolis man that was killed by federal agents was in the neighborhood ICE watch group. You know how they were using Signal, you know, and all that stuff like I was showing you yesterday, and how they're highly organized. The man was killed by federal agents was in that very group that we talked about yesterday. And if you want to see how they're organizing and you want to see how organized they are, it's crazy. Go to the last live I did from yesterday, and you'll see, and I go through the video footage, and you know, there's people that have infiltrated the Signal group that they're using, yeah, so it's a Signal ICE group chat is what they're using, and so they're using that to coordinate. Give me a moment here. And so I find it pretty crazy that this is where we're at, you know, in America. Things are definitely heating up. Give me a moment here. 1 second. So I do want to show this on a side note. You know, they're saying that, and this is hearsay at this point, but I'm going to tell you the hearsay because I care about people. I want to keep people informed. I want to do my best at giving people accurate information, but this is absolutely hearsay at this point. They're saying that Trump has confirmed and has called the shots that they're going to go into Iran. Like it's going to, like they're saying it's going to happen. And all across the board, you know, violence is brewing and war is brewing. And, you know, even in South Africa, you know, they're chanting for the death of white people. And when you see this, they're chanting for the death of of South African white farmers. You know, people that had come there and had integrated there and came there to farm and actually helped the economy tremendously in South Africa. They weren't doing that great until a lot of these European farmers from the Netherlands came down and set up shop, and it actually helped their economy out tremendously. But watch this video. It's pretty crazy.
Shoot to kill, kill a man. Shoot to kill, Namasa.
It sounds like a mantra to me. It sounds like a mantra to me. Like, you know, this repetition. You know, that's programming is what they're doing.
The
it blows my mind. This is where we're at. The world is on the cusp of something really violent here, and there's so many people think it can't happen. So many people think it can't happen. I'm looking for this video real quick here of what I'm trying to find where there were. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can just go to. Okay, all right, yeah. So I'm gonna share screen. I found it. I just don't have it downloaded. All right, so right here, and Joppy actually posted this. Israel Channel 12 says the Israeli army is on high alert in anticipation of preemptive Iranian strikes amid assumptions that Trump may have issued orders to strike Tehran. A meeting between the leadership of the U.S. Central Command and the Israeli army to coordinate defense against any potential Iranian response. And this is obviously old footage, absolutely old footage. Let's see if there's anything below here. No, I don't see nothing. So, I mean, it's just an assumption at this point. It's hearsay. It's not confirmed that, that they're saying Trump may have issued orders to strike Tehran. So, the whole world is heating up to a boiling point. And on top of that, what's been going on in Mexico with the cartels and how Trump wants, that and then on top of that, actually let me pull X back up real quick. Give me a moment here. And I'll show you guys something real quick. And I find it kind of strange here. Give me a moment. Pulling the shared screen back up, but there's been a blackout in Nuuk, Greenland. I'm just gonna say it like that because I'm American. A citywide power outage hits Nuuk, Greenland. The capital was plunged into darkness late Saturday due to an accident, according to national utility, personnel. The blackout has disrupted police phone lines and caused a sharp drop in internet connectivity across the region, with monitoring groups reporting significant impacts in Nuuk. The utility is actively working to restore service using emergency generators. No timeline for full restoration has been announced. And there's the blackout right. So it completely went dark. And there's the blackout right there. It's obviously on repeat. And you can see right here where there's a sharp drop off in their power. So it's like, are we getting ready to do something in Greenland too? Trump's getting pretty ballsy, I'll tell you. I'm not going to play that because it has music, but it's just it's so close, man. We've been talking about World War for some time on this channel. I never really paid too much attention to the Ukraine-Russia war because I always saw that as kind of a distraction, just something to keep people chewing on things, but we're right on the cusp of some really big stuff, and it's going to be widespread. It's not going to be some localized thing, but it's not going to not just be widespread. It's going to be localized as well. And we've already talked about how Al Qaeda has been activated, the sleeper cells in America. Al Qaeda has been activated, and how Iran called for people to start slaughtering Americans. In that, and if they don't, it's considered haram, which is their form of blasphemy. So we're at a really tight crossroads here, and I just wanted to give you guys some updated information compared to everything else I've been saying on the past few lives. If you want more deep intel, go to the past couple of lives that I've done and watch those as well, so that way you can be really informed as to what's happening. This is more of an update video as to how things are accelerating and getting worse. I will continue to keep my eyes on the situation. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, you're going to be, click the bell for updates. So that way, when I do go live, you know when I'm going live, and you can get the updates as I'm giving them out and stuff. And I'm not going to always be the first to the news, because, all that breaking news stuff, that's a dice roll, man. So a lot of disinformation is put out, and I try to make sure I've confirmed things before I talk about them, minus the whole idea that Trump might strike Iran and go into Iran. So, but, because that matters, if that happens, there's going to be a draft. Mark my words, there will be a draft, and it's going to get real nasty real fast. So if you see war in Iran kick off, you might as well, start kissing your sons and your daughters goodbye, because that's where it's headed. If that's the case, that's what they want. They want depopulation. They want violence, and it's both sides of the coin. It's not just one side. It's not just one side. It's both sides. All right. So please be aware. Stay close to Jesus. If you don't know who Jesus is, and you first off, you need to understand that Jesus prophesied that all these things would be happening in the last days. Read, Matthew chapter 24. That'll tell you everything you need to know right there, about what is taking place, what's beginning to take place in the beginning of sorrows. We are definitely in the beginning of sorrows. And there's a lot of proof in the pudding. Even secular historians documented the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. They weren't even Christians. They didn't even believe, and they said that this man rose from the grave. You have got to be off your rocker if you believe that Jesus didn't exist. He was real. He absolutely existed. And there, like I said, secular historians have documented his existence. Now, it says in the Bible, to be saved, you must believe in your heart and confess with your mouth. So when it comes to believing in your heart, you believe that Jesus, that he lived to show you how to live, that he died for your sins, all right, and that he defeated death and rose from the grave, all right, raised up incorruptible. I mean, he was incorruptible to begin with, but raised up in a glorified body, ascended into heaven, and is coming again for his people. All right, and it also talks about believing that Jesus is God in human form. He come down in human form. All right, and so that's a very important aspect of it, because it says anybody that does not believe that Jesus is God in human form has the spirit of Antichrist. So it's very important that you can believe that in your heart and confess it out loud. Jesus, thank you for dying on the cross for my sins and defeating death and raising up from the grave, so that way I can have salvation through you and through your precious blood, that your blood will atone for my sins. And then you repent and say, Jesus, forgive me for the things that I've done. Wash me clean with your precious blood. Make my robes white as snow, and help me to live for you, Jesus. And then just give your life to him. Get yourself a KJV Bible. And if you can't read that, get an NKJV Bible. All right. And then start to read it. Find a supportive church to go to, or a supportive church group to be a part of. You're always welcome here at End Times Talk. You're always welcome to email me at endtimestalk777@gmail.com. All right. And ask questions away. That's fine. I'm always there for people. I don't like to text or email, so it'll be short answers. But if you leave me your phone number and you don't mind me calling you private number, I don't mind dialing your phone number and calling you private number. I want to make myself available to people, not only to pray for them, but to be there for them. All right. And so just know Jesus loves you. He has your back. There's nothing to fear in what's coming. All right. The only thing to fear is fear itself. That's it. All right. Jesus says, behold, I have told you before. He warned us these days would come. And I'm telling you, I want to know a big reason why I choose Jesus Christ, because I see how much the world and how evil it is and how much they hate him. They reject him at every turn. And all the world religions combine at the top and at the bottom. And it's we've talked about this before, but all world religions begin and end in ancient witchcraft known as Kabbalah. And that's just a name that's been put on it. It's ancient witchcraft. It's ancient Luciferianism. And all the world's religions tie into it. And once you research the world's religions and you get at the top of each one, you finally start to see that. And so I see how much they hate Jesus, how much they reject Jesus, how much they don't want anything to do with Jesus. And so I'm going to choose Jesus, because I do not want to go and be swept away with the flood in the which the way that the world's going. It's a giant flood sweeping people away to destruction. All right. That's exactly what's going on. All right. And so, we're in dire circumstances right now, and we need Jesus, and he will have our backs. He will protect you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. His promises are true. All right. And speak those promises that you find in the word of God that apply to you over your life. Speak them and say, God, you promised me this and you promised me that. I believe in this promise. And I hold myself onto those promises that Jesus spoke of. And that really helps me and encourages me to know that Jesus has made promises to me, and that he's a promise keeper. All right. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. He'll never fail you. Your mother, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends, they're all going to fail you at some point. But Jesus will never fail you. May God bless you all. May he keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live.